Hey everyone, and welcome to TEKIN Night. I'm your host Majid from TekinGame, and it is Saturday night, July 11th, 2026. Tonight, we are jumping straight into a massive wave of news that is literally reshaping the digital world right beneath our feet. We're looking at a night of massive corporate shifts, some really dark gaming history, and an absolute revolution in how money and content are managed online. It's an explainer packed with ripple effects, so let's just get right into it. Here's our agenda for tonight. Number 1, earthquake at Xbox Studios. Number 2, Sony's dark DRM history. 3, Wall Street's crypto bet. 4, AI trading and fake images. And finally, number 5, the digital future ahead.
Section 1, earthquake at Xbox Studios. Massive layoffs and the uncertain future of Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay, so July 2026 has brought some incredibly dark days for Microsoft and its Xbox Game Studios subsidiaries. The aftershocks of these decisions are just rattling the entire industry. 12,000 plus, that staggering number represents the total layoffs across the gaming industry in 2026. That's an 18% workforce reduction from 2025. But if we focus in on Microsoft specifically, about 350 employees from Bethesda and affiliated studios have just been let go. We're talking programmers, designers, artists, marketers, the whole shebang. And the timing here is absolutely critical, because this is happening right as the highly anticipated Elder Scrolls 6 was supposed to enter its intensive development phase. Todd Howard himself actually called this one of the hardest days of his professional career.
The impact of these cuts is immediate, and it is severe. Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg hit the nail on the head in a recent series of posts. His sources at Bethesda are now saying Elder Scrolls 6 won't be released until at least 2030, and honestly, these layoffs could push that date even further back. He warns we might be looking at a game that becomes a legend that never gets released. It really humanizes all this data when you realize these aren't just, numbers on a spreadsheet. These cuts are fundamentally altering the timeline of the games we love.
So you might be wondering, why did this happen? Well, it's kind of a perfect storm. First off, despite all the massive hype, 2023's Starfield simply missed Microsoft's financial expectations. I mean, it sold well, just not well enough for them. Second, Microsoft is feeling intense shareholder pressure to increase profitability right now. Third, the broader 2026 economic recession has led to a major decline in AAA game sales across the board. And finally, Microsoft is heavily shifting its core strategy toward Game Pass and cloud services. They simply feel they don't need these massive, sprawling teams to build traditional single-player games anymore.
Now, alongside all these structural changes, a major controversy has erupted, and there are two very distinct sides to this story. On social media platforms, rumors are just raging that Microsoft is specifically laying off American employees to replace them with cheaper H-1B visa workers. On the flip side, Microsoft vehemently denies these claims. They're calling them completely false and insulting, stating that the layoffs are based purely on business needs and performance. We also have anonymous former employees telling the press that the real issue is Microsoft laying off experienced staff and expecting inexperienced contractors to somehow deliver the same quality. We're just presenting the facts as reported here, but it clearly shows the intense friction happening behind closed doors.
Section 2, Sony's dark DRM history. The cautionary tale of PlayStation Online Pass. Right now, we're seeing Xbox make sweeping changes to maximize profit. But history tells us that when companies push too hard for profit at the expense of the user, it can backfire spectacularly. Let's look at one of Sony's worst decisions ever. We're talking about the PlayStation Online Pass, a digital rights management system that was active between 2011 and 2013. This timeline shows just how fast things escalated and then completely fell apart. In August 2011, Sony introduced a system where if you bought a used PS3 game, you had to pay an extra $10 just to access the online features. They rolled it out with Resistance 3 and pushed it into over 20 games. But the backlash from gamers was deafening. People felt punished for exercising their legal right to buy a used game. By May 2013, the public pressure was so intense, it forced Sony to officially cancel the whole thing.
But why did Sony even try this in the first place? Well, it's pretty simple. In 2011, about 30% of all physical game sales in America were used games. Stores like GameStop were making massive profits, and publishers were getting exactly 0% of that pie. Sony thought a $10 toll would reclaim that revenue and force people to just buy new. Instead, it actively hurt new game sales because players realized, hey, I'm not going to be able to easily resell this game later.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ripple effect of corporate decisions. Sony learned a really harsh lesson and pivoted to providing actual value through PlayStation Plus. But they also weaponized this failure. When Microsoft showed up to E3 2013 with plans for strict DRM and used game restrictions on the Xbox One, Sony capitalized on their newfound goodwill. They released that legendary 20-second video simply showing two executives handing a physical game disc to one another. That single moment humiliated Xbox, fueled the PS4's massive success, and proved for sure that short-term, greedy decisions can damage a brand for years.
Section 3. Wall Street's Crypto Bet. Morgan Stanley enters the digital world.
All right, let's totally shift gears here from the virtual worlds of gaming to the high-stakes reality of global finance, because traditional banking is officially entering the digital world in a way we have never seen before. We are seeing historic institutional moves right now. Morgan Stanley just announced they've allocated 0.14% of their portfolio to Ethereum and Solana ETFs. Now, actually, 0.14% sounds tiny, right? But Morgan Stanley manages over $1.5 trillion in assets. That tiny percentage translates to a massive $2.1 billion investment in crypto. You've got them stacking up against heavy hitters like BlackRock, Fidelity, and Goldman Sachs here. This is the very first time a major Wall Street bank has officially invested in altcoin ETFs like this.
And the reasoning is super clear. As Morgan Stanley CEO James Gorman states, we can no longer ignore digital assets. This is a new asset class growing rapidly, and our clients demand access to it. Analysts are predicting that by 2027, over 10% of major bank portfolios could be allocated to digital assets. They aren't just buying Bitcoin anymore, guys. They're buying Ethereum for DeFi and NFTs and Solana for speed. It's true mainstream acceptance.
Section 4. AI trading and fake images, the automation of digital life. Now, speaking of digital assets, we absolutely have to talk about how artificial intelligence is violently shaking up both how we trade those assets and what we actually see on our screens every single day. The automation of our digital lives is accelerating fast. Let's dive into this wild new feature from Robinhood. They are testing an AI trading agent that literally buys and sells crypto for you. How does it work? Well, first, it uses a large language model trained on historical data, news, and even social media sentiment. Second, you, the user, define specific strategies. For example, you tell it, hey, if Ethereum jumps 10% in a day, sell half. Third, the AI just takes over and executes those trades automatically. Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev calls this the future of trading, but analysts are warning that if everyone uses the exact same AI bots, the crypto market could spiral into dangerous negative feedback loops.
But hey, you don't have to be reckless with it. The AI can actually be programmed to use much safer methods, which brings us to a really crucial concept, DCA, or dollar cost averaging. Basically, instead of dumping $12,000 into Bitcoin all at once and just praying you timed the market right, you program the AI to invest exactly $1,000 every single month, regardless of the price. This mathematically reduces your risk against market volatility. The AI handles all the discipline for you. Just remember, Robinhood notes this does not guarantee a profit.
But AI isn't just taking over finance. It's currently causing a massive crisis in social media content. Literally as of yesterday, July 10th, Meta actively started removing AI-generated images from Instagram feeds. On one side, bot accounts have been using AI to generate wild clickbait that gets massive viral engagement. But on the other side, real users are experiencing severe frustration. Feeds are just flooded with fake, sometimes misleading news images, and people are absolutely furious that they can't find real content from their actual friends anymore.
Instagram's head Adam Mosseri says they are prioritizing content authenticity, but man, the detection challenge is immense. Meta is trying to use machine learning and metadata watermarks to catch these images automatically. They're also begging users to manually report them. But advanced models like Midjourney and DALL-E 3 are now so incredibly good they routinely fool even the experts. It's a full-on technological arms race, and platforms are really struggling to strike a balance between removing fake spam and preserving a user's freedom of expression.
Section 5. The digital future ahead. Final perspectives from TEKIN NIGHT.
And this brings us to our final perspective for tonight. From structural layoffs destroying gaming timelines, to the historical lessons of DRM greed, to Wall Street and AI altering our digital realities, the technology landscape is moving at a breakneck pace. So the ultimate question I have to leave you with tonight is, are you ready for the digital future? Because the future belongs to those who can learn quickly, adapt to these automated changes, and separate real value from fake noise. Whether it's protecting your investments or questioning the images you see online, you have to stay sharp. Thank you so much for joining me on TEKIN Night to untangle these incredible stories, and be sure to follow our articles on the site.